Yeah, sorry about that one being the opening note. It can only go uphill from here. Or is that down? We're not sure, but it'll be a hell of a ride. So our next storyteller is a first time here at Apocrypha. First time attending, first time telling a story. So everyone, give it up for Chelsea, telling us The Midnight Train.
So I only decided to do this last minute, so if this story is very rough, I very much apologize.
Can't be rougher than Lewis.
So, first off, I have to tell you that the story is a little gross, so if you're a little queasy, again, I apologize. I don't apologize for the story.
Sorry, no sorry.
So, I think the two things you have to know about me before we start the story is one, this also happened very similarly to like Lewis's timeline. I was an exchange student. I was about 20 years old and living in Japan for the first time. And this is like the craziest shit I've ever seen in Japan. So I'm going to tell you about it. The other thing is I'm going to preemptively answer the question, is this true? It is 110% true. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen. The second thing is that as a child, I had a really weak stomach. So when I was a kid, without fail, I think every single year in school, I would vomit on people, things. I don't know if any of y'all have been to a Texas school, but I'm from Texas, and we used to keep our books in these little sort of trays to carry them from class to class, like not a backpack, but just these little trays. And one time, when I was in 3rd grade, I vomited in the tray and all the books and everything, and I had to carry around my own vomit to the nurse's office. It's actually a wonder why I did not get super bullied in elementary school. I think just people felt bad for me because they were just like, well, that's the vomit kid, like I wouldn't want to be her. So super, super weak stomach. Anytime that I was anywhere near like a dead animal or just literally anything, like my stomach would turn and I'd be like, I'm gonna vomit. So this is important to this story, and you'll see why. So around the time when I was 20, I had gone through that sort of honeymoon phase where you're like, Japan is great, everything's super cool, like, wow, Shinjuku's amazing, and wow, there's anime everywhere, wow. And sort of went down into the like, I fucking hate this place. After like maybe like 20 or so times of people being like, "Ohashi ga jouzu desu ne," to me, or even like I'd say like "arigato," and they'd be like, "Oh, jouzu." I would be like, "Oh my god, this is ridiculous." And I was, in Japan to study Japanese, so I was a very like serious student. I found myself being like, what is the point of being here in the first place? Like, I came here to learn Japanese, but I'm never going to be able to learn Japanese better than somebody who is Japanese. And so, why am I even here? Am I just trying to be Japanese? Like, what is going on? And so, my little, 20-year-old microcosm existential crisis was happening. During that time, I decided to stay out late with some of my friends, drinking, and take the last train home. So the great part is I don't have to explain to you what the midnight train is, because in the United States, most people don't have any conception of it, so I have to explain it. The midnight train, of course, is where everyone piles in as the very last train home, and usually you get some pretty weird people. And so mine was no different. I was sitting, thankfully I got a seat, on the train and going home. It was the Chuo line. Chuo line! I lived in Musashi Sakai at the time, so I was trying to just get home, I'm pretty sure from Shinjuku or something like that. And this guy wanders into the car, and I'm just gonna translate for you. So he wanders into the car, and he's like, "Oh shit, man, I'm so drunk, I'm so blah!" and throws up, and then just like sort of wanders out of the car. And slowly the doors close, and I'm like, oh fuck. And so like I'm sitting there going like, okay, you have a weak stomach. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna do this. It'll be just fine. And the car starts moving, and the vomit starts moving down the train. You know, and of course, typical in like all Japanese trains is like, you know, like let's say the vomit's here, right? And you like look at it, and like without a word, the people are like. Start moving to the back of the train. And I'm sitting, and I'm very, very tired, so I think, no, I'm not going to give up my seat. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden the car starts to like smell of like fish and light beer. And I'm a beer, and I'm like, oh god, okay, I'm okay. I'm going to keep it together. I'm going to keep it together. And the vomit starts traveling underneath my feet. So I pick up my feet, and I put them underneath me. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is just going to be a great story. We're going to tell people, maybe on a night like this. It's going to be super great, but it gets worse. So I pick up my feet, and I'm looking around, desperately praying to God that I do not have to look at the vomit, like feel the vomit, anyway, experience the vomit, right? And I lock eyes with like a Saradiman across the way from me. And we lock eyes just for a brief moment. And he looks at me, and he goes, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ! What? And he barfs all over himself and the woman next to him. He's holding his bag, like, you know, like you have here, right? His bag is covered in vomit, and like the woman is also slightly covered in vomit. And I look over at her going like, and like she's like, like a little bit, and I was like, oh my god, everyone's vomiting. And so again I like look away, just thinking to myself like, again I'm just trying to pray that like the smell is not invading my nostrils and like just invading my stomach's churning, like everyone's covered in vomit but me, like what's happening? And so you know, I'm looking over to the other people, the other side of the train. I'm hoping, praying that like somebody says something like, yes, there is vomit on the floor. Or like, I'm so sorry that we all are like experiencing this, because you know, in like the United States, people would be like, what the fuck? And everyone would have a good laugh about it, and like people would just be kind of chill about like all of us collectively recognizing the vomit. I do not get such release in Japan, because everyone just pretends like it's not happening. And I look back over to the salaryman, he's still clutching his bag, still covered in vomit. Woman, a little covered in vomit, but still just sort of like, they're both, you know, kind of like trembling. Probably trying not to vomit again is kind of what I'm thinking. And so, you know, we get... we start going down the stations, you know, and I'm just counting them. I'm praying, and I'm not really a God-fearing person, but at that moment I felt very close to God, because I thought, if you can just let me like not vomit this one, like I know that we're really weak to this, and I'm about there, like, you know, and the doors whoosh open. And this woman steps in. She's on her cell phone, and she's looking at her cell phone, not the vomit. And she walks in, and like, again, imagine the vomit's here. She's like tapping on her cell phone, and like she says to one of her girlfriends, like, I think Takashi likes me, like, and like the doors close. There's silence for about like 10 seconds. And then all of a sudden, she goes, what's that smell? Looks down. See, she's standing in like ground zero of the vomit. And starts going, ah! 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 And like, in her defense, I mean, she was really wearing like pretty high heels, slides in the vomit, and like goes into like this sort of like kneeling position in the vomit, like slides a little bit. And like, again, nobody is pretending like this is actually happening. Everyone around me is so quiet, and she's like sobbing. And in that moment, I just could not contain myself. From like the bottom of my stomach, I go, oh my fucking God, oh my God. And I am the only crazy foreigner laughing alone in a train full of vomit and full of people covered in vomit. And at the end of the night, I get to Musashi Sakai, and the doors, whoosh open, and like, I step out, and I think to myself, Japan's not that bad after all. Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Chelsea after that amazing story?
Did that cure your vomiting tendency?
Yes, actually, no, really, like, please don't try to make me vomit. But I have to say, from that point forward, I had like a way stronger stomach.
Yay!
Yes.
Did you not get like judgmental eyes when you go?
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, it was the most judgmental. But I think, like, if I think about it, in that moment was the moment that I recognized and accepted myself as always being an other forever. And so, like, for me, it was a very monumental moment of being like, ha-ha! Like, I'm going to react to this in ways that you don't expect because I'm foreign.
Yay. It reminds me of that scene in The Goonies where Chunk is telling his kidnappers about the time he was in the cinema. And everyone starts throwing up on each other.
Yes, just like that.
All right. Let's give it up for Chelsea. Thank you very much.